Call to order the May 19th meeting of the Hammond City Plan Commission. First order of business is Pledge of Allegiance. Roll call.
Ryder Brown.
Here.
Samantha Stockney.
Here.
Nathaniel Harris.
Here.
Ann Herbert.
Here.
William Hutton.
Here.
Michael Pinker. Kim White. Here. Thomas White. 6 present. We have a quorum.
Okay. Next, we move on to the approval of the minutes of the April 21st meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments on the minutes? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Motion passes. Do we have any old business?
There's no old business.
Move on to new business. CP 14-09, petition of the Hammond Board of Public Works and Safety for approval of a 5-lot subdivision called the Conkey Complex addition to the city of Hammond at 601 to 651 Conkey Street, which is Zone I-1 Light Industrial. Mr. Poland.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
A couple of things to start out. Shannon, would you confirm that the notifications were completed properly?
Yes, they were.
Okay. In the interest of the public full disclosure, I just want to let everybody know that I am acting as the presenter on behalf of the Hammond Board of Public Works and as reviewer on behalf of the Hammond Plan Commission. Mr. Stotney?
Yeah, I'd like to state that I am a member of the Board of Public Works and Safety. I'm the vice president.
This evening we have before the Plan Commission a subdivision. This is for the property that is owned by the City of Hammond through the Board of Public Works, located in the 600 block of Conkey Street. This is from the address range of 601 through 651 Conkey Street. The city is looking at subdividing the property. There's a possibility that the city will sell off portions of the lots once they are created. The history of the property is that it was originally built in 1898 as the Conkey Printing Company. I don't remember exactly when it was, but sometime around World War I, the Conkey Company sold it to the Rand McNally Company. They continued to operate the printing company until the 1980s. At that time, the Rand McNally Company sold the property to the City of Hammond. A portion of the property also involves a part of the what is now known as the Erie Bike Trail or Erie Linear Trail. The history of that property is that it was owned by a railroad company for a number of years, the Erie Company, of course. And at the time that they disposed of the property, that was also granted or given to the City of Hammond. The subdivision is a 5-lot subdivision. There are 4 main lots. In essence, we are talking about the Street Department, Public Works, that is 1 lot. The recycling building will be a 2nd lot. The Planning and Development Department buildings at 649, and then the warehouse building at 651 will be a 3rd lot. The portion of the bike trail that will also be related to some dedication of a segment of Conkey Street will be the 4th lot. And then there's a small outlot that is located just north of the recycling building. That'll be the 5th lot. The history of that outlot is that when we looked at the ALTA survey, we found that the fence line the fence line that had been there for a number of years did not correspond to the actual ownership of the property. It's literally a 10-foot by 40-foot piece of ground. It is currently being used by the tire company that is located to the north side of the complex. The purpose of the outlot, straighten out where the property line is, and then we will work with the tire company about transferring the property, that small piece, to them. Since the Conkey Rand McNally plant has been around for well over 100 years, have an utility easement on it. There's some pre-existing utility easements, those will remain in place. All of the other utilities are on the plat that you have before you. There's a generic language that in essence means that wherever the utilities are, they have an automatic blanket easement. And if there's any future construction, companies are always required by state law to call up the 811 service that would do a location of the utilities to make sure prior to digging, they know where the utilities are and that they aren't, accidentally breaking them when they dig. And then if that results in relocation of utilities in the future, the blanket easement allows those utilities to go anywhere they need to be. There's a lot of other complicating factors with this subdivision. There's an access easement that's on the east side of the 649 parking lot parcel, the parcel that 649 is on in the parking lot. This access easement dates back to the 1960s. It was defined as a egress, ingress, and utility easement. It was to connect into the loading dock of the 651 building. I'm working on a document that would remove the egress portion, since the city of Hammond owns both of the pieces that are affected by that easement. We would have the ability as both grantor and grantee, as owner of both parts, to release that easement, because you normally don't have an easement across property, your own property. We're going to leave the utility portion in place, just that's one of the pre-identified easements that will remain. There's a second access easement parallel to this one that was created in just the late 1990s. I'm sorry, I take that back, in the early 2000s. This access easement was to allow access from Conkey Street to a parcel that at the time was owned by the Redevelopment Commission. And this is a parcel that is now owned by the tire company. The Redevelopment Commission sold that parcel a number of years ago to the tire company. This access easement has no value or no use to it, mainly because a few years after that, in 2011, the city granted an access easement to the tire company that's located between the 649 building and the recycling building. And that is the drive that you will see when you drive down Conkey Street. That's where the easement is, and that is in full use by the tire company. So one of the outstanding things we're working with is trying to get the tire company to release the first one I mentioned, and then also straighten out that transfer, that outlot that I talked about. The public sidewalk that the city constructed a number of years ago does cross into out of the right-of-way in a couple of places along the street. The plat did create a public sidewalk easement. That way the sidewalk can remain where it's at. One of the other outstanding items is when the recycling building was constructed, the Board of Works transferred the footprint of the building to the Hammond Recycling Building Corporation. That allowed the building to be constructed. The building, the mortgage has been satisfied. However, the Recycling Corporation, at least according to the Indiana Secretary of State, is administratively dissolved. And so we're still working out the technicality of how does a non-existent, a non-active company that owns property, how do they transfer that back to the Board of Public Works and Safety? Conkey Street has its own odd history. Those of you that have been in Hammond all their lives, Conkey Street teed into Calumet Avenue at one time in the 1980s. Is that correct? In 1980s, Stan, when that was realigned? The intersection was realigned where Conkey Street now in Calumet comes to a full four-way intersection with a traffic signal. That's why there's a curve in Conkey Street. It appears, and it's something I was trying to verify most recently, it appears that a portion of that grass area that was a street has been vacated, but I'm looking towards confirming that. If that's not been properly vacated, then we will have to go through the vacation process through the City Council to convert or to eliminate the right-of-way and turn it back into private property, or at least non-right-of-way property. There are a couple of utilities in the former right-of-way. I think it was in the center line of that street, so that there will have to be utility easement maintained on that portion. So that's the basic history of it. At this time, if there's any questions about the plat.
Any questions from any of the board members? Hearing none.
Okay.
We open up the public hearing.
All right.
Is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on CP 1409? Please step up to the podium.
Okay.
My name is John Reese, residence 532 Detroit Street. I was just wondering what was the projected time frame for this redevelopment project?
The city has been negotiating. The city has been negotiating with a particular property owner to acquire the 649, 651 building. The Redevelopment Commission, on behalf of the Board of Public Works and Safety, went through the public notification process, and it has not technically been awarded yet at this point. We're doing review processes. The Redevelopment Commission is expected to accept the offer within the next 30 days.
Okay. And also, if this does happen to go through and it passes, is that going to possibly cause a property tax increase?
No, it would not.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience? Is there anyone else in the audience who'd like to comment on CP 1409? Last chance. Anybody in the audience want to comment? Public has ended. Any additional questions from any of the board members? Do you have any changes to the staff report, Brian?
No, I do not.
Are you going to read the staff recommendation?
Oh, yes, I was waiting for permission.
Okay.
Putting my hat back on as the reviewer and staff member to the Plan Commission. Staff has sent the plat out for agency review. Not all the agency has responded. I think we're waiting, WOW, the White Open West has not responded at this point. The ones that have responded, they have agreed to the plat, they had no questions. So that's good. As noted above, I did say that there are some items that are left to be resolved regarding the easements, the street dedication, and the ownership. However, the staff feels that recommends that the Plan Commission grant preliminary and final approval of the subdivision plat, but to delegate to the staff, including the city engineer and legal counsel, to resolve any of these outstanding technical issues prior to the submission of the Mylars for signature. And if the Plan Commission agrees, then the staff recommends that the Plan Commission adopt the staff report as its findings of fact.
Questions for Brian? Do we have a motion to accept the staff report as preliminary findings of fact?
Michael Dye. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. Nathaniel Harris.
Yes.
Ann Herbert.
Yes.
William Hutton.
Yes.
Tim White.
Yes.
Stan Bisatny.
Did I already vote?
Yes.
I'm sorry, 6 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Okay, thank you. This doesn't need to be sent to council, right?
No, this is the final authority of the Plan Commission, and as stated in the report, the recommended motion is to grant preliminary and final approval of the plat and delegate to the staff, as noted, to resolve all the technical issues.
Do we have a motion to grant preliminary and final approval of the subdivision plat and delegate to the staff, city engineer, legal counsel to resolve any technical issues?
So moved.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Roger Brock.
Yes.
Stan Bisatny.
Yes.
Nathaniel Harris.
Yes.
Ann Herbert.
Yes.
William Hutton.
Yes.
Tim White.
Yes.
6 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Okay. So that completes CP 1409. Next, we move on to correspondence. Do we have any correspondence, Brian?
No correspondence.
Do we have any commissioner comments? Any comments? Any staff comments?
Yes, just to point out to you that we will have a June Plan Commission meeting. That'll be June 16th. We have at least one subdivision also on that agenda.
Any other staff comments?
No other staff comments.
Any public comments? Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to comment? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion passes. Meeting